some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coon. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
Right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so you all can see we have Marlon Brown here from 2Strong, and me and Marlon are going to be debating whether or not Charlie Kirk was a racist. I absolutely believe that he was, and Marlon disagrees. So we're going to get into it. All right. So with that all being said, Marlon, you have anything you want to say? You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
For those of you who already don't or do know, my name is Marlon, obviously from 2Strong. That's about all I could really say. I'm looking forward to the conversation for sure.
All right. So before we get started, as per usual, let's have a brief word from my sponsor, because y'all know I have to keep the lights on. Please pay attention.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells a beard oil for men, okay? So with that all being said, let's get into it. So Marlon, before we get started, I want to play some clips of videos, okay?
So for those who don't know, and I think everybody that's been following me pretty much has seen these things, but I'm going to show it anyway. And I'm going to use Willie D's video. Shout out to Willie D, because today he was talking about Charlie Kirk and he had like a bunch of clips that he showed. I have those same clips in different videos, but I didn't want to have to dig for timestamps. Okay, so we're going to use his video and maybe one other video so we can talk about why I think he's racist and why Marlon thinks that he isn't. Marlon, I already told you I'm going to try to make this quick and painless.
Okay.
Y'all hear that? I ain't going to try to hurt him too bad. Now, let me just tell you all something, some backstory to this whole thing that me and Marlon have going on. You see, I initially was having a conversation with Corey from 2Strong, and then me and Corey got into like a little argument almost because we were talking about Charlie Kirk. I was saying he was racist. Corey was saying he wasn't. And then so later on after that, I text Corey and I was like, Corey, you want to have a debate on the show about whether or not he was racist? And he was like, nah, I'm going to let Marlon get you, basically. So he got Marlon to do it. So at the end of the day, they both have the same mindset that this man's not racist. So we're going to see who does the better job of proving the point. And you all be perfectly honest. Don't feel like you have to side with me because this is my channel. Just give your thoughts and opinions and views. Okay, so with that all being said, and without further ado, let's get into it.
Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. When blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today, they were less murderous, there was less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? A certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder. Yeah, DEI stands for one of the biggest. Earn it, just so we're clear.
Can we also acknowledge, due to the laws under Jim Crow, that black people were significantly hindered from economic advancement?
This is a really important question. The data shows not really. Black Americans are poorer today in 2024 than they were in the 1950s. The disappearance of the black father has been the #1 driver of black poverty in this country. At least agree that black dads not being around is a bad thing.
Anyone's father not being around is a bad thing. Starting in the 1980s. And
I love that response. Anyone's dad not being around.
So I'm going to stop right there for now. I'll go on further, but for now I'm going to stop right there. So Marlon, beloved, you didn't think any of the things that he said and any of that was racist?
No, because I heard the whole conversation. I didn't listen to the snippet. I heard the entire conversation, so I knew exactly where he came from with his answer. And the majority of the things Willie played, were 1000% out of context. And the context does matter, unless, of course, we're not talking about context. And if we don't talk about context, then anything can be perceived as either racist or hateful. So I guess that would be the first question, is whether or not we are going to look at, adhere to, or even bring up context of the question, the situation, the conversation, and then go to see what he said, not only prior, but post to the clip that you brought up. That'd be my question.
Okay. Right. Okay. So let me ask you this. We don't have time. We're going to only show clips because unfortunately we don't have time to go through everything that Charlie Kirk said, all of his full speeches and whatnot. So people are going to show clips. But now, yes, context absolutely is important. So let's talk about context. When he said if he saw a black pilot, and since you watch the full videos, I'm going to ask you this. When he said that if he saw a black pilot, that he would wonder if they were qualified, why would you think that he would have to wonder that?
Because of what he said before he said that. The question before that was about whether or not DEI would make people have to think twice about folks that get hired. The conversation was about United Airlines implementing DEI and being caught on file as putting certain people at the head of the line that were less qualified, not unqualified, less qualified. And so he was saying that right after that statement, that not the one you heard, but the one before that, he said that makes people have to think. Then he said that statement. And then after that statement, he said, that's not how I think, but that's how people will think. That's why the context matters. It's not him saying that when he sees it, he's talking about the idea that people will look at DEI as though you're putting people in positions that they didn't earn because of merit. You might put them there because
Okay.
they have a skill to it, but not because they've earned it.
Okay, now with that all being said, and that's a very good point. So, with that being said, let's talk about DEI
Mhm.
because Charlie Kirk seemed to feel like if you were a person who was hired because of DEI, that somehow you weren't qualified and that you got a job that someone else was likely more qualified for. Would you say that's true?
Yes, and not qualified, underqualified. He made sure to make that differentiation between unqualified and underqualified. You're not going
Okay,
to give a
now,
job to somebody who doesn't know what the job is about, but they could be less qualified than somebody else, but you give it to them because of DEI. Yeah.
right. Now, with that being said, if someone is underqualified, how would Charlie know that just because they got hired from DUI or DEI, that they were in fact underqualified? Because they would have to pass all the same tests and do the same things that anyone else would have to do to be hired.
Right. But he didn't say he knew that. That's what I'm saying about the context mattering. He said
Okay,
it would
well,
make
let me ask you
people think.
this.
It would make people think that, and
Well,
that's a bad thing.
it would only make racist people likely think that. See, here's the thing,
Mhm.
because people who actually do the research and know what DEI is, they know that it's based off of merit. And
Mhm.
Charlie Kirk himself said to one of the students he was debating when she asked him about meritocracy, he said he believed in that. So
Yes.
if you're worried about DEI is based under meritocracy. You're going to have to
So
be given things based on your merit, your accolades, and your credentials. You're not just going to be given something just because you're Black, you're gay, you're an immigrant. They're not going to just do that. You're still going to have to meet certain criteria. So his whole thing to me
mhm.
was hypocritical. Another thing I want to ask you is this. When he spoke about Black women not having the brain processing power, now, am I correct when I say that he was talking about Joy Reid, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Michelle Obama? Would
Yes.
you agree?
Yes.
He wasn't talking about all Black women, right?
Right.
So when he said that about them and basically said that one of them took a job or they were taking jobs from a white person,
Joy Reid. Yeah.
here's my problem. Here's my problem with that. He said they didn't have the brain processing power. They got hired through DEI. He was implying that they only got hired because they were Black.
Well,
Now, all of these women, all three of them graduated from Harvard. Michelle Obama graduated from Princeton and Harvard. Why would he think, what have they done that what would make him think that they don't have brain processing power?
well, that particular statement was directed at one specific person, and that was indeed Joy Reid. And Joy Reid
Graduated from Harvard.
and Joy Reid, in the clip that he was referring to, said that's how she got in. She said she would not have gotten in otherwise had it not been for DEI. That's why he said what he said. He was responding to her statement of never being
Okay.
able to get in unless it was DEI. So I can see how
Okay,
you
I'm
can
glad
blame
you
him when
said
she
that.
said it.
Okay, so let's talk about that. This further proves my point. If she said that she couldn't get in if only because of DEI she got in, well, she graduated from Harvard. So I'm pretty sure she was qualified. If she didn't get in prior to DEI, that's further proof that we need DEI, which Charlie Kirk was against. And another thing is this. When Charlie Kirk talks about these people lowering standards so other people can get jobs through DEI, what he
Mhm.
never mentioned, not once, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I
Mhm.
haven't found anything and I've done thorough research on this man. What he never seemed to mention was when he's talking about a Black person or whomever hired through DEI taking a job from a white person,
Mhm.
he never talked about the jobs that white people have taken from other people. We'll talk about Black people since I'm Black. There's jobs that white people get not based on their merit, based
Mhm.
on the fact that they're white, based on the fact of who they know. So he never spoke about that negatively. He never called that out. And if he feels the DEI hires are taking jobs from other people, why
Mhm.
would he never have addressed the fact that white people have taken jobs from other people, in fact, who were more qualified than them?
He has mentioned multiple white people in that vein, multiple times. In fact, many years he's done that. He's called out everybody about it. But when the conversation
Okay,
comes up,
can you show me a clip?
okay, I just want to finish my statement. I
Okay, go
just want
ahead.
to finish my statement. But so when he talks about this stuff over multiple times, I don't have a clip to bring up because I wasn't coming on here to show clips. You had the clips, and I'm just responding to your clips. But when you talk about whether or not this idea of him calling out white people, unless you watch back 6 years worth of video, If you've done thorough research from yesterday to now, you would have had to watch 6 years worth of Turning Point videos to find them.
Not
I've been
from
following him
yesterday
for a
to
while.
now.
I'm just saying you would have to cover 6 years worth to find whether or not he did or didn't speak about white people. And if you did that, more kudos to you. But I have indeed heard him speak of not just white people. He spoke about the gays. He talked about the trans, everybody. It wasn't just black people. So when he talks about merit, he didn't just mention African Americans in his statement. And to go back to your point about the DEI definition, what it states is race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability, age, class, veteran status, religion, fairness, justice, and substantive equality. In none of those statements under their own description do they ever mention merit. So I'm wondering where the definition for DEI mentioned merit.
Well, here's the thing. If you do the research, if you go to different companies, for example, Delta Airlines, if you go and look into DEI, when they were using DEI to hire people, it's merit-based. Most of the companies have that within their policy. Even though they're using DEI, it's merit-based DEI. They're going to hire people.
Right. And that's the company. We're talking about the DEI context itself. Does DEI, in its definition, bring about the inclusion of merit, yes or no?
Well, DEI itself doesn't.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
That's why he's against it.
But here's the thing, though. He knows full well that people that are hired through DEI have to be qualified. You said it yourself in the beginning. You said they may be underqualified, but you did say they had to be qualified. And I asked you, how could Charlie Kirk know if they were underqualified? He didn't know.
Right.
So why would he have said it? And why would he have
He didn't say it. That's what we're saying.
Hold on. What he has said that before. He absolutely has said it.
What did he say?
Now, unless you've seen every single clip of every single thing he did, okay, which I doubt, just as I haven't. But he has absolutely said that before, Marlon. So my thing is this. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's leave that alone for now. Let's talk about what the lies that he's told.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you agree that when he was on those campuses debating the youth that he was lying to them?
How?
I'm asking you.
I can't admit that because I don't see the lie. So you can tell me what the lie is.
Okay, let's talk about it then. Yeah. I'm going to go to a clip. Let's see here. Because Charlie Kirk was telling a whole lot of lies. And see, that's the problem. He knew he was lying. I'm sure he knew that. He wasn't just misquoting things accidentally. He absolutely knew he was lying at the end of the day. And that is another reason why I feel like he's a whole racist, because he knew he was telling lies, saying things that weren't true. Hold on just a second. Looking for the timestamp. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take this off the screen and share this other one. Okay. It's open to all. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. It's open to all students, just like I told you guys. Okay? But let's keep listening. Let me put this back on the screen. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Y'all gonna learn today.
We agree. That's the spirit of the diversity, equity, inclusion order, is that DEI in practice, again, we have to go through example after example, is discrimination, prejudice, and segregation.
Let's talk about DEI in practice. Let's talk about DEI programs in the workforce, because DEI programs in the workforce happen to benefit veterans. They benefit people with disabilities. They benefit people at an economic desperate. They benefit lots of people that is not just on the basis of race. And to me, it feels like you're conflating DEI with pro-blackness or black only, which is not the definition of DEI.
So let's take a high-profile DEI example. Is that cool? Just maybe one we can play around with.
Okay.
Which got me in a lot of viral trouble, which I don't care. Which is pilots.
I got in a lot of viral trouble too. I
Hey,
was debating this guy,
I
you know.
And you kept interrupting you.
He did.
I know, right? Which is that, let's say DEI, a project of DEI at United Airlines was that we want to get 40% of our pilots to be Black or women of color, or women or people of color.
40%.
50. I'm sorry, to get up to 50. It was at like 6%. So therefore, they wanted to make a push towards that, and it was currently at 6%. We look at that and we say, wow, you're going to have to lower standards to get to that goal.
Why would you have to lower standards?
Well, because
are you saying that Black people are inherently inferior?
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that Black people are only 13% of the population. So you want 13% of the population.
Women are not 13% of the population. Women are 50% of the population.
Yeah, but women do not make up a majority of people that want to become pilots. In fact, vast majority of women don't want to be pilots.
Maybe they would want to become pilots if the barriers for entry weren't.
See, that now we're going down a different but equally fun direction, which is male-female differences. Men much more likely want to be involved in heavy machinery mechanics. They want to be pilots. They want to be tank operators. They want to be police officers. Whereas women much more likely want to be, I'll get to you, Mason. Don't worry. And I remember your name.
Yes, can Mason go? They won't let him go.
I'll let Mason go. I'll let Mason go. But just, Mason, have some patience. We did this last time, okay? But do you understand, at least from our perspective, because it's no good for us to go back and forth again, maybe from our perspective, that we worry that the pursuit of diversity can mean the compromising of excellence.
Charlie Kirk, this country is diverse. You can't just say the pursuit of diversity is compromising excellence. Diversity literally just means difference. This country is 13% Black. It's 14% immigrant. It's 1/5 of every person in this country is Hispanic. It's 7% homosexual, and 50% of the country disagrees with you. Okay, diversity is America. You cannot say
all of that is true.
I'm going to go back to that in a second, but let me just say this to you, Marlon. I forgot when we were talking. When you said that he didn't just talk about Black people, he talked about gays and other people and this and that, immigrants. Yes, I absolutely know. He talked about all of those people, those groups in negative light. I never heard him talk about a white person in a negative light. And in fact, when anyone brought up something negative about a white person, he would flip it onto Black people. Let me give you an example. Okay. When they were talking to him on the day that he died, unfortunately, they were asking him about how many trans shooters in the U.S. He said too many. They said how many mass shooters. He said, what about gang violence? Now, he directly said gang violence because he didn't want to talk about the mass shooters in the United States, because we all know that the main ones that are mass shooters are white Caucasian males between the ages of 18 to 35. He didn't want to talk about that, so he flipped it and said, let's talk about gang violence, because he knows that when we hear gang violence, most people equate that to Black people. But let's let her continue.
You are America first if you do not care about half of America.
I care about them so much, in fact.
You care about them so much that you don't want to give them
I didn't interrupt you.
access
I care
to
about
equal rights.
Well, hold on. No one said rights. Hold on a second. No. I care about them.
It's equal rights. It's
Naima,
equal
let
access.
me finish. Now, who's interrupting here? I care about them so much. I want the only thing that they're ever judged on is to be their character or their competency, not their skin color.
Okay, so you want it to be a meritocracy.
Yes.
So let's talk about a meritocracy.
Okay.
What experience does Kash Patel have to run the FBI?
He has amazing experience.
No, he doesn't. He wanted to start a UFC fighting program at the FBI.
Experience. I got 5 words in. He was the...
Now, Marlon, before we let Charlie finish, do you yourself think that Kash Patel is qualified for the position he now holds?
Yes.
Really? That's interesting. So even with the fumbles that he did on Charlie Kirk's own murder investigation?
Yes, he's still qualified. Every president does fumbles too. Biden did tons of fumbles. Nobody said he wasn't qualified for president. At least nobody on the left said
that is true.
Okay, cool.
That is absolutely true.
So at that point, when you're talking about, and I'm still waiting for the lie that you said he told. That was the original statement, is that this clip was going to be about him lying.
No.
Where was the line?
I skipped past that. We can go back to it, but I saw this part, so I wanted to go to this. Now, I can tell you what he lied about. He was talking about all Black dorms on college campuses. And the young lady asked him to name what colleges they had those at. And he named 3 colleges. And in this same video that I did yesterday, I Googled it and showed where he lied. None of them had all Black dorms.
Okay.
Okay. So, and not only that, he's lied about statistics. The problem is he's debating children, people on
Okay.
college
What
campuses that
statistic?
have no, huh?
What statistic did he lie about?
Well, when he said that black men or black people commit most of the rapes, the arsons, and all of that, that was absolutely false. And I
Violent
have the
crime.
proof.
Violent crime. Yeah.
He didn't say violent crime. I'm telling you what he literally said.
So then show it for me. I want to hear it.
Yeah, you're going to hear it. That's why
That'd be
I have
good.
the
That'd be
receipts.
good. That'd be good.
Hold on.
Quite the statement.
Okay, thank you all for the
unifying.
contributions to the
Quite
channel.
unifying.
Everyone, I won't have time to go through them right now, but thank you all so much for all of the donations to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Most important thing, he was a public defender.
That's not what that's not the job of the FBI. He has no experience in the FBI.
He was a public defender and he was a special prosecutor.
Was he ever a member of the FBI?
No, but
he doesn't have the merit to have that. All right, let's do another example.
But
what experience does Linda McMahon? What experience does Linda McMahon have to run?
She ran the Small Business Administration in the first term, which is a big, big organization. She was the head of the SBA.
When she was the CEO of WWE,
I'm not even talking about that. She ran the SBA.
One of her employees was engaging in pedophilic behavior with their ring boys under her watch.
I'm not going to defend that.
And now she is somehow qualified to be responsible for all of America.
Let me stop right there. I'm going to go past this. Okay, so until the next lie that he told, I'm going to go to that, Marlon. Okay, so here's the thing. He's sitting there saying that Linda McMahon was qualified. Linda McMahon, okay, she went to school at East Carolina University and graduated with a bachelor's degree in French in 1969. Okay, I said all that to say he thinks this woman is qualified, but he didn't think that Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, or Ketanji Brown Jackson were qualified because they were DEI. Okay, because at the end of the day, they all graduated from Harvard, from Ivy League college. But he thinks this woman who graduated from a minuscule college, East Carolina University, he thinks she's qualified. He thinks that she has brain processing power. Yeah, because she's white. And he also, another thing, Marlon, what do you think about this? When he was speaking about a hypothetical scenario where he said if he goes in and there's a customer service person who's some moronic black woman, and then she's not knowing her job, why would he have to say that she's moronic? Why couldn't it have just been a black woman? He was very insulting to black people, specifically black women. You don't have a problem with anything he said about Dr. King, for example?
Can I go now? Because I feel like I can't get a word in, and it's supposed to be a debate, but I'm just kind of like an audience member of this.
Go ahead. I'll let you talk. Go ahead. Keep talking. Okay. You can talk as long as you want.
Okay. Yes, and I do believe what he said about MLK because I've read MLK's letters. But I'll come back to that in a minute. Is Kash Patel white?
No.
But you're talking about the merit thing, like so he was DEI in your opinion?
Kash Patel, I don't know if he was DEI.
Well, you said he didn't earn it, right?
No. I didn't say he didn't earn it. I said I feel that he's not qualified.
Okay, so if he's not qualified, how do you get the job?
Pretty sure because
DEI.
He's an ass kisser. He's an ass kisser for Trump.
Oh, so black people can't get the job.
That the people, hold on. We know that the people in Trump's
cabinet. I thought I was going to get the time to talk.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you're telling me that black people can't get the job if they kiss the white ass without DEI, but we still need DEI. I got you. Now, as for the whole idea about the lying
that's
idea.
not what I'm saying, Marlon.
But you just said he kissed the ass of Trump.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish. That's why I was trying to explain before you you went on. What I'm saying is this. No, you can't kiss ass to get a job. I'm saying with Trump, you can. Because Trump is a person who, as long as you don't criticize him, who as long as you say nice things about him, he has no problem with you. As we can all clearly see, anybody who criticizes Trump, as a matter of fact, anybody who criticizes Trump, there's a problem for them.
But that's not...
I have it right now that I just shared on my X. where Trump was caught on a hot mic today saying that, telling these reporters that they can't talk, they can't criticize him.
He says that all the time.
Because they have
That's
a
not new.
license.
That's
So
not
what
new.
I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you can just kiss anybody's ass that's a boss and get hired. Yeah,
Did-
we need DEI. I'm saying that Kash Patel was kissing Trump's ass specifically. That's why he got the job, not on merit. But let's continue.
Did Ben Carson kiss Trump's ass?
You said who?
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson.
Did he kiss Trump's ass, or did he berate Trump in the debate before the
You
presidency? Yes or
asked
no?
me about Kash Patel.
Yes, and
How did
you
you get on Ben
you gave your
Carson?
listen. You gave your answer about Kash Patel, and you're talking about kissing Trump's ass. I'm asking a very specific question. Did Ben Carson kiss Trump's ass to get into the position he was for HUD? Yes or no?
Ben Carson likely did, because he's a whole raccoon. And
you-
here's the thing, and let me say this. Raccoons, Charlie and other people like him, they have no problem with raccoons. That's
So let
how
me
we
get
can
this
deal with
straight. I want to make sure I get this completely right. The discussion isn't about white people. There are some black people you hate too because you think they are a certain type of black. Is that, am I getting that right? Because judging from what it seems, it's like there is a black and there's a not black that are black.
about hating anybody. Don't put words in my mouth.
I'm asked. It was. I didn't say you said it. I didn't say you said it. I never said you said you hate people. It was a question.
Oh no,
Those were questions.
I don't hate people.
Perfect. So
I
here's
don't
my
hate people
question.
because they're raccoons.
What is a rack? And where did that term come from? White people or black people?
It came from them.
It came from white people, right?
Yeah.
So you are fine with using a racist epithet that white racists use against your own kind, but you're upset that Charlie is calling you out on things that you actually do to yourself. Am I getting that right?
Here's the thing. You're the same way, Marlon, because you called a black woman a monkey, and that's something that racist white.
Why did I call her a monkey?
Hold on. It doesn't matter.
It does matter. If she's jumping around the place
and
squealing, she's a monkey.
No, it doesn't. You
It
use
does.
something that's said to us by racists, and because you're not an African American, you felt that you could say that.
There it is.
You felt that you could say that.
All right. So here's the
That is what it is.
No. Well, here's the thing. If I'm not qualified to speak on this, why have the debate with me? If I'm not black enough to have this debate,
I never said you were not black
you
enough,
just told me
Marlon.
I'm
Why
an
are you
immigrant and I'm
putting
not
words
black
in my
American.
mouth?
You just said I'm not black American, right?
You're not.
Okay,
Are
so
you?
am I
You're
black enough to
Canadian.
have am I black enough to have this conversation? Yes or no?
Yes, of course. That's why you're on
But
here.
I'm an assumption about him. So let's make an assumption about
No,
me.
that's not an assumption. It's based off of his behavior.
Okay, then
and
what
the
do you
things
think
that
about
he
me?
said. I've watched Charlie Kirk. Since you want to compare that, because I said I don't know you, let's get into it. Charlie Kirk, I've watched him for years. I have only heard of you maybe a year ago when I got to know Corey, and I still don't know you. I have not ever spoken to you, talked to you, had a conversation or anything. So, and I've not ever really listened to you. So that's why I'm saying I don't know you. So I can't say what you are. I can, however, say my opinion on Charlie Kirk because I have listened to this man for a period of years.
Okay, so again, what did Charlie say that was so racist and wrong? You have not proven that to me yet, because in the context you can't disprove that.
Here's the thing. Let me say this. You're asking me what did he say that was so racist and wrong?
Right.
See, racism isn't always about what you say; it's also about what you do.
But that's what you
Now,
said.
Charlie Kirk, hold on. Charlie Kirk is he was one of the gatekeepers. Charlie Kirk is basically, how do I want to put this? He's like a beneficiary of the invisible architecture of white supremacy or wanton supremacy. Would you agree?
But how? You're not saying, you're just saying it is, but how?
So he's not a beneficiary of wanton supremacy or white supremacy?
I can't say that if you don't show me an example of how. That's why I'm asking for an example of how.
The example of how is because he's a white man. He benefits from this system that we all have to live under. Does he not?
Do I do too?
Hold on. Does this system of wanton supremacy, white supremacy, whatever you want to call it, I like to call it wanton supremacy because they want to be superior, but they're not. But the bottom line is this system that we live under, would you say that this system gives white people an advantage over other people?
No.
You don't think so? So
Not
you
not
don't
not
believe
not
in
not
white,
not
hold on.
think, not
So you
think,
don't believe
not
in
think.
white privilege? You
Not
don't believe in
no,
white privilege?
no, no.
So you think that Trump being in office, even though he's a 34-time convicted felon,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's been accused of sexual assault and all
Mm-hmm.
of that, you think that if Barack Obama was a 34-time convicted felon and if he
Mm-hmm.
had been accused of the same things, that he could have been president?
Yeah,
That's honestly what you think?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
At the
Did,
end
did
of the
Obama
day,
did Obama drone
I
kill an
don't
American
believe
citizen?
you, Marlon.
So,
Marlon, I don't believe
so
you.
you're done
I
with
don't
me,
believe
or you
you.
don't want to hear my next question?
No, go ahead.
Did Obama drone American citizens? Yes or no? Did he drone
Did he
strike and
drone
kill
American
Did he
citizens?
drone strike and kill American citizens? Yes or no?
Not to my knowledge.
He did indeed. He did indeed, and he never faced any punishment for it. So I would call that black privilege. Would it be?
So you would call, okay, well, here's the thing. I would not call that black privilege
Oh,
because
a
Obama,
presidential
hold
privilege.
on. Okay, I would not even, well, presidential is one thing. We're not talking about presidential privilege. We're talking about white privilege. And
Mhm.
I think that you are trying to gaslight and deflect because you don't want to talk
But
about
you
white
haven't even
privilege.
proved the stuff you said you
You're
were going to bring
talking
to the
about, hold
table.
on. You're bringing up presidential privilege.
No,
What
it was
is
a
that?
question. It was a question. If you won't say it's black privilege, it has to be some other privilege that he got away with that.
Obama
No?
was working under a system of wanton
So
supremacy
he wasn't president?
for the government.
So he wasn't president.
Okay. Yes, he was the president.
Is Trump president?
Yes.
So they both had the same power?
No, absolutely not.
They don't have the same power. So wow.
I do not think they both had the same power because here's the thing. The presidents are puppet masters. Okay, so they're told what to do. And at the end of the day, Trump gets to do a whole lot more things than Barack ever
Like what?
was able to
Like
do.
what? Like what?
First of all, being there with 34 felonies.
Okay, what else?
That should be enough, don't you think?
No,
Being
there's
accused
multiple
of
things.
assault
What
and
else?
rape, and then being somebody who has 34 felonies. You know darn well they would
What are
not
the
have any
felonies?
black man. You know they would not have any black man in the White House who had one felony, let alone 34.
What was his felony?
You know that there is white privilege, Marlon. Stop
I don't know
playing.
that
You
because
know
I
that
can.
if a
Do you
black
want my
person,
proof or not?
if a convict,
Do you want my proof
here's
or
the
not?
question. Yeah, you have proof. Go ahead.
I have tons of proof that white privilege doesn't exist. Okay,
Let's hear
you
one
would
of them.
consider
Two of them.
you would consider white privilege where black people can't get a leg up over white people. Is that what you consider it?
Where black people can't get a leg up? No,
Over white people.
no. Here's
What would you
white
consider?
privilege.
Define it for me so I can give you my example.
I would consider, I'm gonna give you an
Mhm.
example. I would consider white privilege an example that I gave on yesterday. I had a professor who wanted a position at a college. She had a master's degree. She applied for it and was denied. They instead gave the job to a white woman who only had a GED. She was not qualified whatsoever, but she got it because she was white and because she knew the director of education, who was also white. Now, what happened was when the auditors came to the school to check and see if they had their accreditation, they came to that same black professor and asked her if she could sit in and pretend that she was the program chair because the white woman who was given the job didn't have the proper credentials. And you see, that is why we do need DEI, because stuff like that still happens. It always happens.
Okay.
And that is white privilege. How do you get a job where it requires you to have a bachelor's degree, but you only have a GED?
That's a good question. I did that. And they probably knew that I sold out and all that stuff. So how did I get the job?
Marlon, do me a favor.
How did I get the job?
Hold on. Do me a favor and stop saying that word.
They said it to me.
Raccoon.
I'm just replying. I'm honoring I'm honoring your members. I'm honoring your members.
I got that, but listen to what I'm saying. I say raccoon. Okay? Raccoon.
Well, I won't even say a semblance of it. I probably got the job because I kiss white ass. Is that what you would assume?
Why would I assume that about
because you just gave me an example of somebody who was underqualified for a job, right?
Right.
Okay, and the person got it because they were white?
I said that to tell you about my experience of white privilege.
And I'm telling you mine. So
that has nothing to do with you, Marlon. Why are you trying
I am giving you my anecdote as to why white privilege doesn't exist. You gave me yours why it does. I'm giving you why it doesn't. Now, I understand that people are going to say I'm not the right type of black. That's why it didn't apply to me. And that's a really great thing because nobody knew I was an immigrant when I gave them my paperwork because it just said citizen, but I digress. How did I manage to nail a job as a supervisor over only white people in Microsoft without having any of the qualification to do the job?
Well, here's the thing. Whoever hired you thought you had the credentials.
I didn't.
And I'm not saying that every Black person, here's the thing, you're trying to make it as if I'm saying every Black person who gets a job had to either kiss ass to get it or weren't qualified. That's not what
you're
I'm
saying that.
saying.
No. I never said you said that. You are giving an anecdotal experience about one person. I'm giving you my anecdotal experience. It's equal based on the experience that you brought to the table to prove one thing. I'm bringing mine to prove it doesn't. If you are telling me that it exists all the time and that it is there, why didn't it affect me? That's my question.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you why I think it didn't affect you. You probably had the accolades and all of that.
I
just
didn't.
Like other
I
people.
just finished telling you I didn't. I just finished telling you I didn't.
Okay, well, if you didn't have them, at the end of the day, maybe they hired you for DEI. I don't know. But the bottom line is, but hold on, just because you had an experience when you weren't qualified and you got the job, that does not mean that there's no such thing as white privilege.
How many examples do you need for it not to be white privilege?
How many do you need for it to be that there is?
About 5 million.
Okay, well, that's ridiculous.
What's the population of Blacks?
Basically lets me know.
What's the population of Blacks?
That just lets me know, Marlon, that you are closed-minded.
No.
You are stuck. Hold on. No, I'm not done. It just lets me know. You saying you need 5 million. Is that how many you need?
Yeah, because there's the 46 million discrepancy.
That means that you don't want to acknowledge that there potentially could be, maybe, white privilege. And you're sitting here saying that you think Barack Obama could have still been president if he had 34 felonies. I don't believe you believe that.
I do believe that.
I don't believe you believe that.
I do. You know why I believe that?
Why?
Because of how Barack Obama spoke.
Let me ask you this, Marlon. So you said you don't have a problem. You said you go back to it. So let's go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
You said you don't have a problem with Dr. King, the things that Charlie Kirk said about Dr. King, right?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Dr. King was a Marxist.
He was a what now?
A Marxist.
Okay. So with that all being said, and Charlie Kirk said that Dr. King was awful.
Mm-hmm. For being a Marxist,
and he said that, well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does.
If he didn't like his views or opinions, right? Because some people didn't like his views or opinions. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, he had a problem with Dr. King, but not somebody who was caping for a PDF file, like the young woman just told him. Hold on. He could say he didn't know, but I'm not going to believe he didn't know when he knows that woman. He knew that woman in real life. I never knew that woman, but I knew that she did that too, because it was printed all over the media or the internet. It was all over the news. Okay, so I do believe that he knew that. Just because he said something doesn't make it etched in stone. So I think that he was just saying that because he was trying to make excuses for why he was justifying or saying that that woman was qualified. I don't think that she was. But the bottom line is, if he had a problem with Dr. King, I wonder why he didn't have a problem with Rush Limbaugh. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that people hang out with the same type of people as them?
Not all of them, no. There's tons of people that hang out with people that are not like them.
So do you think that if somebody's hanging out with if somebody's closest friends or people that they, hang around more so, or the people that they revere, if those people are racist, you don't think that they might be racist too? I'm not saying they are, but might, if they revere racist people with racist and wanton supremacist ideologies?
Okay.
All right. So with that all being said, Paul says, Marlon, I'm disappointed in you.
That's okay. Plenty of people are.
Hold on.
You won't be at the bottom of any list. And you might end up being at the bottom of the list. There are tons of people that are not satisfied with me, but I don't live my life to satisfy people. I have my tribe, which is my wife and my 5 black boys. Okay. So I have enough to deal with on my plate. I don't need to convert anybody. I don't need to convince anybody that I care about people that look like me. I understand that people may not like me, and that's completely fine. You are warranted to have your own opinion about and formulate your own opinion about me. Tether,
I absolutely agree.
raccoon,
I felt the
anything
same
else,
way.
and it's wonderful for me because, for me, I don't base my experience in life on what other people view me. I have 3 people that I need to please in my life. It's God, my wife, and myself. And if y'all ain't one of them 3, then it's not a matter for me to convince y'all to convince or like me. That's okay. And you can think whatever you want about me or about Charlie. I'm just looking for the proof that people say they have, and I have yet to see it. I'm just looking for any type of statement that you can bring forth to me that prove to me, because proof requires 3 parts. You bring the receipt, I listen to the receipt, and I believe the receipt. So far, I have no proof. And if people don't like me, they don't like me, and that's okay.
Well, here's the thing, Marlon. When I invited you on here today, my intent was not to prove to you that Charlie Kirk was a racist, because there is no proving it to you. Specifically, when you say you need 5 million explanations to prove that
That's
there's
not what
no
I
white
said. You see,
privilege.
now you tell me not to misquote you, but you misquote me, and that's not
Okay,
fair.
well, repeat what you said.
I said you need to give me 5 million people that are going through that, because the black population is 46 million.
People. Okay, I
It
didn't
is
hear that
46 million people that are black in America. If you can show me 5 million examples, and I think that's a very mild number. Give me 5 million examples of this happening on a consistent basis across the United States, and not just regulated to certain states with certain types of mayors and governors. I will listen to you. I think 5 million is being very, very, very generous of an example.
Well, okay, well, here's the thing. Here's my point with that, Marlon. Whether you're saying 5 different examples or 5 million people, if each of those people gave you their experience, that would be 5 million examples. So actually, I didn't misquote you. Second of all, there's no way that we have the time or wherewithal to even go through that. So again, my point is this: there is no proving it to you, because I don't have 5 million people to show you. So, and also, like I said, when I invited you on here, I didn't invite you on to try to prove it to you, because you already have your opinion. I didn't bring you here to change it or for you to change mine. I brought you on here so we can, have this conversation, so we can have other people entertained and maybe educated at the same time, and see what they basically thought about it.
But at the beginning of the session, you said, I'm going to show you these clips and you tell me whether or not you believe he's racist, right?
Right, I asked you a question.
And I said to you, well, show it to me to prove to me that he was racist. That's what I asked, right? Okay, and I said, prove to me. Good. Then if you're trying to prove something to me, is that not for convincing?
Well, okay, I get what you're saying, but I'm not trying to prove it to you. Okay,
so
then
if that's what
lied,
you
thought.
So did you lie?
No, I didn't lie. I didn't lie. You said
it's kind of like when you say Charlie lied.
You said that you asked me to prove it to you.
Yeah, and you said
That's
okay.
what you asked me to do.
Right.
Okay, I may have said okay. I wasn't really paying attention because I was trying to find the clip.
Okay.
But here's the thing. At the end of the day, here's the thing, Marlon. I'm not trying to prove anything to you, because you, just like me, already have our opinions, okay? And I'm not going to change mine from one live and one conversation or debate, and neither are you. We both know that. So it would be nonsensical for me to have invited you on here to try to prove something to you that you definitely are not going to believe, no matter what.
How can you say definitely?
Now, hold on. You asked me to show you a lie that Charlie Kirk told.
Yes.
So let's get into it. So I don't want to be here all night.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm going to start this video again. And this is where he told a lie.
Holiday is a nationalized race hustle.
Y'all heard that right? He said it was a nationalized race hustle, honey. Hold on, let me go back a bit. Hold on. Okay.
And guys,
I saw a clip somewhere that you were trying to get the officer who murdered George Floyd pardoned, and I just want to know what your reasoning was about that.
Well, George Floyd didn't die because of the police officer. He died largely because of a drug overdose.
But he had his knee on his neck. We all saw the video.
But the knee on the neck is actually an approved police technique that police departments taught Derek Chauvin to use. Do you know that George Floyd was saying, I couldn't breathe, well before that restraining technique? And
so why'd they use the technique if he already couldn't breathe?
Well, because he was actually resisting arrest, and they had to restrain him. And they restrained him in a way that they were taught to do, which is the knee on the neck technique.
That was a lie.
How is it a lie?
You'll see. Okay, so you all heard that, right? Now let's go to his views on Juneteenth. which had nothing to do with him. If he didn't want to celebrate it, all he had to do was not celebrate it. Why get mad because they're allowing us to have our own holiday? Okay, I'm sorry, but he seemed like he was a whole hater. That's what it seems like.
What exactly is going on here? Well, very few people are willing to actually call this out. From the first time that this was floated as a federal holiday, I am thankful and proud to say on this program, we opposed it. This is not about out of many one. No, it's about a certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. The exact same thing that happens before NFL games where they play the Black national anthem. This recognition of this as a quote unquote federal holiday comes right out of the 1619 Project. Look who's most excited that this is a federal holiday. And they're not talking about this as a massive celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Now we have a full day to be able to smear and slander white America. This holiday is a wedge.
Why would he think, in your opinion, Marlon, because I know you don't know for a fact, but do you have any idea why he would think that Juneteenth would be a day for us to slander white people?
Maybe because it happened that way. The instant it took place, that's what you saw all over social media? Or am I the one that now has to bring receipts about that?
Hold on. What do we see on social media? Slandering white people?
Oh, of course. Okay, what are you doing? What are you doing to Charlie Kirk? Are you slandering Charlie Kirk right now? Or are you just giving receipts of what you think is true?
No, I'm not slandering him. These are his own words. Okay, what are you talking about?
Right. Okay.
And I'm voicing my opinion. My opinion isn't a fact, is it?
Perfect. So in your opinion, it's not slander, right?
Right.
Okay. Can it be slander in someone else's opinion?
Yeah.
Okay. So in Charlie's opinion, what they do in Juneteenth is slander.
Okay, but I'm asking you, do you agree that it was slander?
I'm not white. I wouldn't know. They weren't slandering me.
Okay. Well, do you have any idea why Charlie would have felt that it was slander?
He's white, and they were talking about white people. What do you mean?
Okay, so because we talk about white people, that's slander?
Yeah, because when he talks about black people, it's racism.
Oh, okay. So when he talks about black people, why would some of us think it's racism?
It's the same reason he would think it's the other. What do you mean? You're answering your own question.
No, I'm not. I'm waiting for you to answer.
If black people can consider what he says, okay, if you can consider what he says racism, right? Then he can consider what y'all do.
What he said, what he did. What he said and did.
So you tell me that no black person ever celebrated something happening to white people? That's a doing.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say
okay, cool. Then it has a doing. If you're going to hold him to a standard about how he views people and call it racist, you have to have the same exact standard if you're a fair person, that if black people do something towards white people can call it slander. They're not calling it racism.
Of course they can. I just said that, but I'm asking you, Marlon.
Because he's white.
Why do you think, okay, just because he's white, he felt like it was slander? Oh, okay. So you do know that slander means someone lied, right?
It doesn't matter what you think the term means. He's taking it as slander.
Hold on. I'm asking you a question.
I do know what the definition of slander is.
Slander means someone lied.
Yes.
Slander and defamation and libel. That's all when someone lied on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So when people were saying things pertaining to Juneteenth online, were they lying on the white people?
What things?
Well, what do you hear that they were saying, since you said it was slander? Or
all white people own slaves.
Say that again.
All white people own slaves. Is that true? Or is that a lie?
No,
and would it be considered slander?
All white people didn't own slaves.
So is that slander because it's a lie? Then yes, they slander.
That could be misinformation.
No. You can't move the goalpost now. You just told me lying was you said lying was the marker for slander. You said that, not me. And I asked you specifically, if they're lying about all white people, then there has to be slander, yes or no?
Yeah, it would be slander if you're lying about all white.
So then they did slander. Yes. So then they did slander. So he's right. They
okay, so hold on, not so fast. Okay, so here's the thing. Juneteenth was basically because white people didn't tell black people
In one state,
for
yes.
some years that slavery had ended. And
Two-
when they
2
found
years,
out it
yes.
was ended, then that's when they started celebrating
Mhm,
Juneteenth, right?
mhm.
So knowing that, I don't feel like Charlie Kirk should have had a problem with it. And here's the thing. Even if he did have a problem with it, like I simply said, then he didn't have to celebrate it. Why is he concerned about what we're doing on our holiday?
Because it
Why,
affects
if
him.
we were, hold on, if we were saying things that he didn't like, because he said plenty of things we didn't like. So if it was good for him, it should have been good for us, is all I'm saying. So if you want to say to me that I can say he was racist because of the things he said, and he can say it was slander because of the things Black people said, okay, I'll let you have that. Okay, that does make sense. But the bottom line is, why was it that it had to be something so negative for him? He didn't have to celebrate Juneteenth. He said it was a race hustle. How was it a race hustle?
Okay, let me ask you, what has been the benefit of Juneteenth so far?
I asked you a question first.
And that's, I'm going to be, this is part of your answer. If you can show me no benefit to Juneteenth, then it's a hustle. What's the benefit to it?
A race hustle. So who's benefiting from it?
Black people. So what's Black people? So what's the benefit of Juneteenth?
For Black people to have, come together like any other holiday, for Black people to celebrate their freedom. July the 4th, which wasn't really our Independence Day. That's the benefit of it. Now, if you want to talk about a race hustle, the people making the money off of it are white people.
How?
Because they're the ones selling most of the Juneteenth merch. And aren't they the ones that even trademarked the term Juneteenth?
And so why didn't you go do something about that? Why didn't you fight that?
It's not about me doing something about it. I'm asking you a question. Don't try to flip it on me. I'm asking you if
you're the one that loves the holiday, not me.
Hold on, Marlon, hold on. If you're sitting here telling me that you agree with him that it was a race hustle, then if it was a race hustle, then the ones getting the money are people who look like him.
Did he say
why
that?
was he complaining about us?
Did he say it was a Black race hustle?
No, he didn't, but we can assume that's what he was talking about.
And I'll no, not when we get to the.
We get online and slander white people.
Listen, he also criticized specifically white people
We're
that
not
had
talking about that right now. Right now, we're talking
and
about
I'm going to
Juneteenth.
get.
Stop trying to deflect.
I'm not.
You're trying to deflect. We're talking about Juneteenth, Marlon. If he was talking about Black people in this discussion,
never mind.
Hold on, I'm asking you a legit question.
So here it is. Here's my final statement, and I can't continue this because here's what's really happening. It's been a session where I get maybe 2.5 minutes, and then you go on for about 15 with your clips, and that's fine. It's your show. I ain't complaining about that. You ask for a conversation, but it's not a conversation. You have people that you don't want to use certain terms in your platform, but you have no problem with them using certain racial epithets towards me. And that's fine. Again, it's your platform and it's your people. I would have just expected.
Hold on. Racial
I see him
epithets?
still talking. And again, that's why I can't be doing this. You have, it's your platform. You can allow them to say what you need to say about me. And that's okay. Again, it is your platform. I would have thought this would have been a little bit more respectful, where you would at least ask the audience, hey, man, look, y'all can think that way, but typing it out is a little bit rude, especially considering they don't know me. But to answer your question, this is what I will say about Charlie. You think he's racist, and you have the complete right to believe and feel that. It does not make it true. The same way that he can feel that it is being something towards white people during Juneteenth doesn't mean it's true. Everybody has an opinion about it, and nobody can prove it to me. If you're trying to tell me that the definition of racism has changed over years, I completely believe that, because nobody knows what racism is anymore to begin with. Because if it was true that you didn't want to have racism around, then people wouldn't be using racism to combat racism, which is what is happening today. So with that being said, I do really appreciate the platform, Queen, but it does not seem that we're going to have a conversation. It seems like it is more of a one-sided conversation on your end to talk to me, as opposed to hear from me. And that is, again, completely fine. It is your platform, and you're trying to feel out your audience. I'm not here to be any kind of a pariah, any kind of a problem. That's the last thing I want. And I'm going to make sure I give your audience exactly what they want, and that is to not hear from me. If it is definitely to make sure they're entertained, they are not entertained right now, because what they don't want to hear is from somebody that they consider a sellout, a raccoon, and all that kind of stuff. So if that's the case, that's completely fine. Again, everybody has a right to think as they think, and I have the right to not to be wanting to be around it and to be submitted to this kind of vitriolic statements towards me as a member of a guest panel. I consider that kind of rude, and I really don't have that kind of disrespect to myself to sit here and take it, especially when I'm speaking to somebody respectfully without calling you any names, and have nothing done about it. It's kind of upsetting, and but it's understandable. So with
Let
that,
me say this, Marlon.
with
Let me
that,
say
I'm
this.
going to say,
Hold on. I apologize if anybody was being rude or using racial epithets. I did not see that. I do
you
know that
brought
people
one
in the
up,
hold
Queen.
on, Marlon.
Queen, you brought it
I
up.
see. I brought up what?
You brought up the entire racial comment. The very first comment you brought up was the racist one.
Yeah, but I haven't been reading the comments. I've been putting
Why
them
would you
up here
bring it
because
up?
they're sending. Hold on. I've been putting the comments up here where people sent super chats and then writing down their names. I don't have time to read their
Okay,
comments
so
because we're talking. So
again,
if, like I said,
listen,
if someone said something, I apologize
doesn't
to
matter.
you.
It doesn't
But
matter at this
hold
point,
on, let me
Queen.
say this, beloved. But here's the thing: people in the comments section, there's some of your people in there too that have been saying things about me, and I'm not addressing any of it because I don't have time right now. We're having,
Listen to
and I
me,
don't, nor do
Queen.
I care, because that's their opinion.
Queen, listen to me again. My initial reason for no longer having this discussion is because it is not a discussion. It is a speaking at, not a speaking to or a speaking with. And if we were going to have a speaking with, I would love that. But I cannot get a word in edgewise. You keep moving from conversation to conversation before I have a chance to address it. And when I go back, you say, stay on topic. I cannot have that conversation. And I know exactly that this is how it, I mean, I'm fine with it. This is not me upset, pissed off, or anything like that. But I know when to fold up, and I know when to go home, especially when my ball is not being treated the way I would like to have it treated. So this is what I would say.
Marlon.
I really appreciate you having me on. If there ever is a need where we can have a actual conversation, I would absolutely appreciate it. And in the meantime, in between time, if you all like me, you like me. If you don't like me, that's completely fine. You're entitled to own your opinion. Okay?
All right. So with that all being said, Marlon's out of here. Hold on, let me stop this share real quick. So with that all being said, I didn't realize that people were saying things to him disrespectfully in the chat. Okay, hold on, beloveds. Okay, hold on for just a second. I'm looking for something. I didn't realize that people were saying disrespectful things to him in the chat. At the end of the day, I have not been able to read all of these comments, even though I'm putting some of them on the screen. So to me, that was, that was kind of a lame excuse to leave. That's just my opinion. That was kind of a lame excuse to leave because I wasn't being disrespectful to him, and he should not be more concerned about what the chat is in fact saying than what me and him are talking about. That's just my opinion. Because if other people were disrespectful, that has nothing to do with me. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't want anyone being disrespectful. But at the end of the day, that's not me being disrespectful. I was sitting up here, trying to have a good conversation, is all I'm saying. So with that all being said, Trisha says that was rude of him. Respectfully, he shouldn't have been reading the comments. Exactly. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to not read the comments because, first of all, I didn't want to get thrown off or sidetracked. And then for another, it was just counterproductive to me. You know what I'm saying? It was counterproductive to me as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, the bottom line is, Trisha said he wasn't listening. He was more concerned with the chat. Well, here's the thing. The bottom line is Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, was racist. Okay. He was, like I said, he was a beneficiary of the architecture of wanton supremacy. He benefited from that system. He told lies on Black folk. And I wish that Marlon had stayed long enough to see the next lie that I was going to show. Okay, because he kept saying, when did he lie or whatever? Well, here's where he lied. When he basically said that the whole thing with George Floyd, when he said that George Floyd, didn't die because of the knee on his neck, it was because of an overdose. And then he said that the officer was trained to do that. That's not true. I literally showed it on my screen yesterday. I'm going to go back to it just for those of you who missed it, because Charlie Kirk would go to these campuses and lie to these students. He would be lying and nobody would fact check him. Now, I know that he knew he was given incorrect information, and that's why I say that he was racist. He was lying about Black people on purpose. Okay, he was lying on purpose. I never heard him say anything negative about his own people. Marlon says that he did, but he has no proof and receipts. I've literally heard him gaslight. Whenever someone tried to say something negative about one of his people, he would flip it to the Black community. That's what I've seen him do. But let me just play this clip really quick, and then you all can hear this.
Holiday is a wedge used to push for countless destructive policies demanded by BLM. And remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder. Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday is a nationalized race hustle.
Y'all heard that right? He said it was a nationalized race hustle, honey. Okay, but let me point out another lie that he just told. Okay, so remember when the young lady was asking him about George Floyd? And then he said that George Floyd, when she said, well, if he couldn't breathe, if he already couldn't breathe, why did they put the knee on the neck? He said because he was resisting, and then they did a maneuver that they were taught to do, right? That's a lie. That's another lie. Let me try to enlarge. Why do I have this overlay on here? Let me take that off so y'all can see. That's a whole nother lie. Let me try to enlarge it. See, the lies are coming out, honey. Okay, because y'all know I bring receipts, period. You see that? That's not a police technique that they're supposed to do. That's why Derek Chauvin is in prison yet again. Okay, I typed in, are cops taught to put their knee on a person's neck to control them? Because I know you're not supposed to. That's called excessive force. All right, which is why Derek Chauvin got in trouble. No, police are generally not taught to place their knee on a person's neck for control, as this technique is considered excessive force and it's dangerous. Okay, the movement used by Derek Chauvin on George Floyd was not a trained restraint technique by the Minneapolis Police Department, and many departments have banned the use of knee on neck tactics. Instead, officers are taught to use the necessary force to ensure compliance and take somebody into custody, but not to apply it to the neck area, when a subject is restrained or cuffed. Okay, you all see how this man was just saying things that were not true. Okay, and the people who knew that he was saying things that were not true are the people who say that he was racist. That's why we say that. That's why we believe that. Yeah, and that's why I feel like he was racist, because he was knowingly lying on Black people. At the end of the day, Cassandra, thank you, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. Says the Queen still reigns supreme. Thank you. Okay, and thanks to everyone who was sending super chats. Like I said, I really, really appreciate you guys. I wasn't able to read all of them, but I want to thank you all so very much. Now, let me say this. Yeah, the bottom line is Charlie Kirk was a liar who lied. Okay? At the end of the day, let's go to this when he talked about the prison population. See, Marlon said that he didn't know I was going to be showing clips, but I was showing clips for context. If me and him just got on here and I started saying how I feel and he started saying how he feels, someone who doesn't know who Charlie Kirk is or was, or doesn't know, the things that have been said, might maybe be confused. That's why I had these things for context, but also to prove where he lied. He lied about George Floyd. He lied about George Zimmerman. He literally said that Trayvon Martin was stalking George Zimmerman. That's what he said. He said Trayvon was stalking George Zimmerman. He knows that was a lie. I played the clip for you all of him saying it, and then I played the audio of the 911 call when the person specifically told George Zimmerman not to follow him, and he did anyway. He was following Trayvon. So how was Trayvon stalking him? Okay, this man was lying at the end of the day. And here's another thing he lied about. Let's get into it. These are the statistics that he lied about. And let me say this, when he was talking about those black women, here's the thing. Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, had a problem with educated black women. And during the time when he was talking all this stuff, you all know, because I showed you the receipts before, that they were saying that the most educated people in the United States were black women. So why say that these black women didn't have brain processing power? He didn't think that Ketanji Brown Jackson was smart, Michelle Obama or Joy Reid were smart enough to have their positions, and they graduated from Ivy League colleges. Charlie didn't graduate college, period. And the little time he went was at a community college. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they had higher levels of education than he even did. So for him to talk about their brain processing power was nonsensical to me. Okay, that's my point. But look at this right here, because he also said, and I played the clip for you all, he said that black people are more of the prison population. We're more, I think he said we're more than 50% of the prison population, and that we commit the arsons and all of this stuff or whatever, and the grapes and all of that. But here you have it right here. Here's the percentages. Okay, the white inmates. 88,408, 57.1%. And this is recent data, by the way. This is from September the 13th of 2025. Because they update this weekly, and I'm always paying attention to it. Okay, so here's the thing. 57.1% of prison inmates are white people. Then you have black coming in at 38.3, Asian 1.6, and Native Americans 3.0. Those are the ones that they show. With that all being said, Charlie Kirk was disingenuous. He was not telling the truth. Okay, and let's go to something else, because I brought more receipts. This is from the FBI crime stats, which I have been checking this ever since I was in college for criminal justice. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, I'm going to share this on the screen. And the reason I'm sharing this is because, as I said, Charlie Kirk said that black people commit most of the arsons and the grapes, okay, and robberies or what have you. So let's go to arson and grapes and robberies. So here we have grape right here. If you go to grape, it says under white, as you can see, it has 11,588. Under black or African American, it has 4,427. Okay. Now let's go to the arson. Arson. Under white, it has 6,291. Okay, under black, it has 4,453. So black people are not doing the most grapes or arson. That's a whole lot. Now, they might be winning in robbery, so let's go to that. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you. Robbery. We're not even winning in that. Hold on. Let me make sure. Oh, okay, here we go. So with robbery, it's for white people. Yeah, the black people are beating them in the robbery. 25,143. And then for black people, it's 29,677. So black people are like 4,000 more ahead in the robbery. Okay, so like I said, but with the grape and arson, that's absolutely not the truth. Okay, so he was not telling the truth. And that's my point. He was saying things that he knew were not true. You all think this man wasn't smart enough to know or to have done his research to know the real statistics? Of course he knew those statistics. Okay, and also to say that there's more black people in prison than whites, of course there are. Okay, that doesn't mean we're the most criminal minded. There are black people that are framed and sent to prison, wrongly convicted all the time. We know that because if you look at the statistics from 1979 to 2008, there were like 208 exonerations through DNA testing. Okay. And more than 50% of those people exonerated were black people. So black people are more likely to get sent to prison when they're innocent than white people. So that's something Charlie Kirk never talked about. He always talked about the negative aspects of us. If he had ever said anything positive about us, then that would be different. But I never found anything that he said that was positive about Black people. Talking about the moronic Black woman in customer service. Talking about lowering standards for people to get jobs and stealing it from a white person, but never talking about how white people have been given jobs just because they were white in some cases, or just because of who they knew, not what they know, but whom they knew. So, at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. When he also said that he got a job that he wasn't qualified for, and those people didn't know anything about him or whatever, let me tell you this. Those people knew that he was an immigrant. Those people knew he was an immigrant because he has an accent. Now, here's the thing, and you might say, well, how does that make a difference? It makes a difference because we all know that Black African Americans, foundational Black Americans, whatever you want to call us, that we don't get the same treatment in this country as Black immigrants. We know it and they know it. Marlon may have tried to act oblivious, but he knows it. They're privy to get grants and stuff that we don't get. This is how they can come here and be here for a short time and start their own businesses. They don't give those to Black people that are born here so freely. Okay, even if you have an 800 credit score, that is a fact. They had redlining, black codes, and all of these things. So all of those things that held us back for so long, now that they don't have those practices, they have other things in place to still hold us back in some ways. That is just a fact. And trying to get rid of DEI is another way of trying to hold us back. Okay, we need DEI at the end of the day, because without it, qualified and educated Black folk, Mexican folk, immigrants, or gay people, whomever, may not get jobs that they absolutely deserve. And that's what I have to say about that. So, period. He seems to be one of those Black people who thinks that because he didn't have it hard, or because he never had to deal with racism, that there is no racism, or there is no white privilege because he's never encountered it. Maybe that's why he feels that way. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. I've never had to really deal with a lot of racism in my life. I've had to deal with it, to a degree. But at the end of the day, how stupid would it be of me to sit here and say or try to discount somebody else's experience just because it didn't happen to me? Okay? So at the end of the day, honey, my thing is, Charlie Kirk, some of his own people say that he was racist. And I absolutely think that they know him a whole lot better than we ever could. Okay, that's what I think. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I was hoping for a debate. He said we couldn't even have a conversation. Well, I felt like I did let him talk. I felt like I did let him talk. But what I didn't do was allow him to control the conversation, because that's what he does on his platform. Okay, and I wasn't going to let him do that. That's how that went. That's why he probably felt like I was just taking over the conversation. Yeah, I was controlling the conversation. And that's what I had planned to do, because that's what he does. Because I've watched him. I know that he likes to control the conversation. I know that he speaks condescending, especially to women. Okay, he called a Black woman a monkey. Okay, so with that all being said, I was controlling the conversation and I was being respectful. Okay, so, it is what it is. I love you all to life. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Okay, with that all being said, I will be right back on tomorrow for your morning wake-up call. I hope to see you all there, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this night. Until next time, beloveds, peace. Oh, also, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives.
With that Floyd all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got